Hello, everyone. Hope you are well on this Monday evening, September 11th. The warnings, many, not all, but many of the warnings have come true. I'll go more into that. I'll talk about this day in history and how I don't believe we've been the same ever since. The warnings have come true, y'all. First, a couple of things. If you like the video, hit the like button. It helps us out. We appreciate it. And if you haven't yet done so, consider subscribing to the channel and hit the bell notification so you know when we put out content. Certainly appreciate that. And first, I saw this story earlier today. What in the world is going on in New York City? Well, we kind of know, but I mean, every day is something odd and just, it's surreal, man. It is surreal. It really, really is. New York City, they're cutting the overtime pay for police officers in an effort to pay for the city's ongoing migrant crisis. So you're going to take money from your law enforcement with your crime out of control already anyway in the city to put towards the migrant crisis, but you kind of created that despite policies. The police are crying out that they're already they've been understaffed by thousands of officers, and you're going to cut more. The mayor said that the migrant crisis is a financial tsunami and that they can't keep up this pace. Well, duh. He predicted that this will destroy the city. He said this will destroy the city. It's going to do more than that. It's going to do the same to many other cities in the country if it continues, in my opinion. If this continues, y'all, if it continues, you've seen the pictures. You've seen the video of what it looks like in parts of New York City, and even worse in some of these border towns down there on the south border. Almost every town will look like a border town. Every town in the country will look like a border town. If this continues, it will be more than unrecognizable. I mean, it will happen if it continues. But it's not fathomable. I mean, it's beyond doesn't make sense. It's self-inflicted. I mean, anyway. Speaking of New York City, well, it went beyond New York City, but September 11th, remembering this day, it was 22 years. And I know I made a short earlier this morning about it, just to be on guard, to be aware, like we should be every day, really. I don't think, and right now as I am recording this, is 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and nothing big, weird has gone on as far as today is concerned. I didn't think it would. You mean you never know, but I didn't think it would. And by the way, I don't think anything is going to happen on September 23rd. A lot of people are talking about the 23rd. I got to look more into that. I hear more and more chatter about it, but I haven't really delved into that, and I'll probably do a video on it or mention it more, later on as we go along. But anyway, back to the subject. But 9/11, first, I think that it changed the country. We haven't been the same since. It's created this monster that has just grown. Now I'll go more into that in a minute, but just the day itself, 22 years, and it's still tough to watch the footage. It's still very tough to listen to the recordings made by people that were on airplanes, knowing that they were probably not going to make it, and listen to the recordings calling family members, leaving messages. I heard several today, and it's so tough, and it hasn't gotten any easier to listen to it. It really hasn't. Especially the one that we were listening to last night, and I heard it again today, were some people on the plane on the United 93. I think it was 93. Yeah. and they were the ones that the plane went down in Pennsylvania. So these people have been hearing about the other planes that went into the trade center. So they knew that they were probably doomed. And but they did fight back. So they had this knowledge that the other planes were run in. It was a terrorist attack. So they did try. They fought back. And if you haven't seen it yet, there's a movie called United 93. It is really good. It's well done. And I can't remember the name of the director, but very good. And so look it up. You probably might be able to watch it free on YouTube, actually. But it's called United 93, and it focuses just on that flight from the beginning all the way to the end, and it's really good. All right, but so how have things changed? I said it. I don't think we've been the same since. I think it changed the world in ways, but I think it really, just concentrating here on this country, United States. I think and the part that sticks out to me, not just remembering, I remember where I was at work and my dad calling me and telling me what was going on, and just the reality of that setting in was just, it's hard to describe. But in the days and weeks following that, I remember watching the president at that time was W. Bush, and he created this thing called the Patriot Act, and it gave the government sweeping powers in an emergency to be able to develop these or use these technologies, the spy technologies, and they said it was going to be to use only against terrorists, and they said it was only going to be temporary and used only because of this emergency, because we were under attack and we're under an emergency here. So, and I remember all the warnings, all the red flags that went up, and I didn't quite understand all that, because in 2001 I was still I had the rose-colored glasses on for the most part, not totally, but for the most part I had the glasses on, thinking, believing that it's only going to be used against terrorists and it's only going to be temporary. Oh, it'll go back to normal at some point. But we know better, don't we? And I remember hearing all these warnings like, no, this is government overreach. This is not good. And I was fighting that. I think in a way, my gut was telling me that they're right, that this is something to be very concerned about, that we can fight this war without trampling and throwing the Constitution out the window, right? So my gut was telling me that, but my brain was still, my heart was still, my heart, it can lead you astray, as we know. And my heart was like, no, we're the United States. I'm believing that this is going to be temporary. It's going to be good, because we got to get these guys back that flew planes into our dang buildings, right? And it's going to be temporary. So those two things, but we know that the warnings were true, that it wasn't temporary. It's only grown. This monster is humongous. It's ginormous. It's only grown. And it's not only temporary, it's like I said, it's going, but it's not just used. It just wasn't used against terrorists. It was used against them, oh yeah. But at the time they were like, no, no, this won't be used against citizens. What are you thinking? I mean, this is only for our enemies. Well, we know. I mean, look at what's been happening. I mean, these three-letter agencies, y'all. I mean, I'm not going to say it, but especially the ones the one that starts with an F and ends with an I. Good grief, y'all. The power that they have consolidated. I mean, they make the KGB look like the YMCA. I mean, they make the mafia look like Boy Scouts. I mean, it's really incredible if you really look at it and pay attention to the stories and see what's going on. But I don't know how it's going to change. I mean, even if there is a change at the top in the election next year, I don't think it's enough. I know it's not enough. It's not going to change. So what would change that? What could change it? I don't know. I mean, I think it would take a much larger situation or event, um, But it is out of Big Brother, 1984, the old movie, 1984. It's even more so than that, and we haven't seen anything yet, I'm afraid. But it's turned into a surveillance, somewhat of a surveillance type situation state, and so much so that, hey, we have to, you're kind of watching what you say. I mean, how bad is that if you really think about it? I mean, is the Constitution just even? I mean, is it even? Why even have it? I mean, is it? Uh, what's left of it? You know, and at best, this was probably started out during the in the following days of the attack with good intentions. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Sometimes I'm just too naive, I guess. Uh, but we know now, if you pay attention at all and are awake at all, we know what this has turned into, and it is a flying monster, man. I mean, it is. Now, with that said, I'm going to throw some good news on you. And you might be ahead of this. You might already have seen this, but open defiance, New Mexico. Now, back up a second. Now, if you didn't catch it, the New Mexico governor had put out an order banning open and carry of personal protection items, uh, and declared a 30-day emergency. So basically, for 30 days, the Second Amendment, she ordered that the Second Amendment doesn't exist. Now, we know, we don't get to do that. No, that's a nope rope. So in defiance of that, over the weekend, personal protection owners rallied in Albuquerque in open defiance of this order, and they had their tools on them, out in the open, out in public, and the police did not intervene. They did not try to enforce this order, which was in effect. So that is a lesson. I mean, this is what needs to happen on a mass scale. Okay, this is how you react. This is how you respond. It was peaceful, but it was defiance. It was non-compliance, but it was peaceful. Okay, you didn't burn down a police station or anything like that. But they got the point across, and it worked. I mean, so this really needs that. Now, I know you're thinking, dog, where was that three-letter agency? Maybe they were. This caught them by surprise. Uh, maybe they were in the crowd. Who knows? Maybe they were camouflaging the crowd. They probably were. But whatever. So what? They still made their point across, and the law enforcement did not enforce this. So this is a lesson. This is just something to remember, that and that's a big event. You're not going to hear that on the regular news. No, no, I don't think you're going to hear that on the nightly news, right? I have a passage that packs a punch, y'all. Stay tuned. And I think that or at least to me, it resonates with what's been going on in current times here. Share your thoughts though, because share your thoughts on what you were doing that day in history back on September 11th back then, uh, and what you think about how we've changed and what's going on, and what we have ahead of us. All right, passage is from Romans. Romans chapter 1, verses 28 through 32 says, "And since they did not see fit to acknowledge God, God gave them up to a debased mind to do what ought not to be done. They were filled with all manner of unrighteousness, evil, covetousness, malice. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, maliciousness. They are gossips, slanderers, haters of God, insolent, haughty, boastful, inventors of evil, disobedient to parents, foolish, faithless, heartless, ruthless. Though they know God's righteous decree that those who practice such things deserve to die, they not only do them, but give approval to those who practice them." Now, what does that make you think of? A little bit of that going on? I think so. Been going on for a while, I know. But current times, good Lord. God help us. Stay close to Jesus. Let's keep praying and keep aware out there. God bless you. I'll see you soon.